Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and see exactly how the literal ground beneath our feet profoundly shaped the American country we know today. I mean, if you've ever stopped and wondered why certain cities just magically popped up exactly where they did, or why different regions of the country have entirely different cultures and economies, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to look closely at the incredibly powerful relationship between the physical Earth and human history.
But before we go jumping into the maps and the history, we really have to start with our core worldview here. Every single mountain, river, and plain we're going to study today is part of God's purposeful creation. When we look at geography, we aren't just looking at random dirt and water, right? We are looking at a grand stage, a stage that was intentionally set for human beings to live on, to explore, and to cultivate.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the Earth is the Lord's. Look at the two types of geography. Compare the north and south, contrast mountains versus plains, visit some booming coastal port cities, and finally, wrap up by discussing education, morality, and peace.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, The Earth is the Lord's, setting the stage. Moving right along to Section 2, Two types of geography, physical versus human.
To truly understand our history, we really need to introduce the two main characters of our story. First up, physical geography. Think of this as the raw material. It's the ultimate why behind the what in our history. Why did certain areas become massively wealthy trade hubs while others focused entirely on farming? Well, it's the soil beneath your boots, the weather raining down on your head, and the rivers blocking your path. It's the natural world just sitting there, existing independently of us, waiting to be utilized. Basically, the stage dictates the play.
Then on the flip side, we have human geography. This is what we do. It includes our cities, our cultural traditions, and our trade routes. Now, remember our golden rule for this explainer. Physical geography provides the resources, but human geography determines exactly how we use them. They constantly work hand in hand to shape history.
Which brings us to Section 3, The North and the South. A tale of two landscapes. You can really see this golden rule in action right here. Up in the rocky Northeast, having massive, sprawling farms was practically impossible. But what did they have in abundance? Fast-flowing rivers. Human ingenuity looked at that physical geography and said, hey, we can use that water power to run mills and factories. Meanwhile, look down at the South, a beautifully warm climate, super long growing seasons, and incredibly fertile soil. So, naturally, human geography responded with massive agricultural plantation farming. The actual land literally dictated the economy of both regions.
Section 4, Mountains versus the Plains, the journey west.
I want you to picture this. Imagine you're an early pioneer. You're packing up your wagon and you're heading west. Those towering Appalachian Mountains, they were a massive, massive physical problem. For a really long time, they literally served as a giant stone wall that kept human settlement pinned right to the East Coast. It severely slowed down expansion. But once pioneers finally pushed through to the Great Plains, everything changed. It was like stepping out onto an absolute ocean of flat land. There was a catch, though. The plains had this incredibly tough, thick sod. It wasn't until human geography intervened, specifically the invention of the steel plow, that humans finally unlocked this physical geography. And that is what led to the rapid, massive settlement across the continent.
Let's head to the water for Section 5, Booming Coastal Port Cities, Hubs of Trade and Culture.
Because here's the thing, when you have access to shipping, you have access to the entire world. What's absolutely fascinating about New Orleans is how one single geographical choke point created something so wonderfully vibrant. New Orleans sits right at the mouth of the mighty Mississippi River. That means basically everything grown or manufactured in the interior of the U.S. floated right down that river to be traded. And because it was such a vital, indispensable trade center, it attracted people from all over the globe. It naturally blended French, Spanish, African, and American cultures together into, well, an absolute cultural gumbo. The physical location directly created the unique, thriving heart of the city.
But physical geography can also create totally unexpected overnight explosions in human activity. Just think about the year 1849 for a second. Any guesses what single event completely rewrote the map of the West Coast? It was, of course, the gold rush. The sudden discovery of gold buried in the physical earth, combined with San Francisco's perfect natural harbor for coastal shipping, caused the city's human geography to just explode almost overnight. I mean, it went from a sleepy, quiet little town to a booming, bustling metropolis, all because of the sudden collision between newly discovered natural resources and immense human desire.
All right, wrapping up with Section 6,
Education, Morality, and Peace. The Godly Learner.
So we've really seen how physical land dictates human outcomes, right? How the literal map birthed the distinct cultures and economies of places like New Orleans and San Francisco. Just take a quick mental second to review those checkpoint questions. But having all those facts memorized, that's really only half the equation.
And this brings us to the foundational philosophy of our source text from the HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners series. The big takeaway here is that intertwining these geography lessons with biblical morality is absolutely crucial. Because, let's be honest, simply having a head full of facts without a moral compass, that just leads to painful, bad choices. What is the point of being highly educated, of knowing absolutely everything about physical and human geography, if you're continually making terrible decisions in your personal life that end up hurting you and the people around you? Intelligence without wisdom is a pretty dangerous thing.
The Apostle Paul actually writes that the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. True wisdom lies in knowing how to navigate the physical world with a solid moral compass. So take a look around at the geography of your own life today. Look at your resources, your barriers, your choke points. If the physical earth provides the stage and human choice writes the script, what kind of history are your choices writing today?